name is Laurenz, and unfortunately I'm not one of the two directors of the film, who are Jan Christoph Gockel from Germany and TD Jack Mohindo from Congo. I represent one of the co-producers of the movie, the Theater am Bauturm from Cologne. And but I was very closely linked to the process from the very beginning on.
And can you talk about that process, how this film came out to be?
Yes. Jan and me were doing a research trip to the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo in 2014. And that's where we encountered the protagonist of the film, who is a demobilized former child soldier and worker in a coltan mine, who has already then been involved into cultural work with young people from his hometown who share the same story, who were child soldiers before, who are street children, and he makes arts with them. He teaches them how to drum, he teaches them how to dance, how to act, how to express themselves, because it was his way of dealing with his story. And he wants to pass on his abilities to express his story to other people with the same fate.
And it's a healing process, I guess, right? For him and also for the people he works with.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. I think that's also the way he would coin it. And he's a man with a mission, and he really identifies with this mission. He describes the young people who share his fate as his people. And he says he's doing his work for his people, for his community.
And if we go back to the process of making this film,
yes.
So you met with the protagonist, but then how did this collaboration begin and how did it unfold?
Yes. Well, basically in 2014, we've set up a theater project on this topic. We wanted to make a theater project on the topic of coltan, which is a so-called conflict mineral that is mainly found in the east of Congo. And it would obvious to ask the protagonist whether he wants to collaborate with us on the project. And so we raised money, and we realized the premiere of this international project. It involved actors from Germany, Haiti, Congo and Belgium. We realized it on the Recreatral Festival in Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso, in West Africa, in 2014. The next year, in 2015, it came to the Afrikolonie Festival in Cologne, in Germany. And in the following years, it used to come back to Germany. It toured in Austria, in Graz, in the theater of Graz. It also went to the Democratic Republic of Congo, to Kinshasa, the capital, and to the capital of the Republic of Congo, to Brazzaville. And an interesting thing about the play is that whenever it reached a new stage, when we started a new tour, we didn't just repeat the same play that it was before. We took the time to rehearse it anew, and we developed it further. And you know, whatever was relevant at that time, for example, in 2015, we had this huge influx of refugees into Germany due to the crisis in Syria, for example. We incorporated it in the play, and we thematized African refugees coming to Europe. And so it was a constant development. The play is in constant development, which is sort of characteristic for Jan Christoph Gockel as a theater director. You know, he develops his pieces further. And so in 2019, we had finally raised the money to bring the story to its home, to where it comes from, to the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. We had played it in Kinshasa before, but Kinshasa is a completely different story from the east of Congo. The east of Congo is a place of, some would call it anarchy. You know, it's very, it's far away from the administrative center of Congo, 2,000 kilometers from Kinshasa. No concrete road connecting this region with the capital. It's very difficult to go there from the capital, and the government sort of doesn't have a grasp on this region. So it's not easy to go there, but we raised the money. We wanted to go there in 2019, and then our plans were spoiled by an outbreak of Ebola, of the Ebola epidemic. And we decided not to go. With lots of work and lots of discussions, we somehow managed to transfer the government or partly government money to the next year, to 2020. You can imagine how difficult it is sometimes to postpone, you know, donor money. But in this case, they made it possible. We were very happy we could go the next year. And then the next year in 2020, we all know what happened. It was the year of the COVID pandemic, and which was much more severe in Germany than it was in Congo. And this time it was the Congolese authorities who said, no, we won't let you in. You're the infectious people, we won't let you in. And again, we couldn't realize the tour of the theater play in Eastern Congo. So when Jan in 2021 realized the pandemic wouldn't stop, would go on, he had this idea that, okay, human beings cannot cross borders, which actually for people of most African countries is relevant not only during the pandemic, but any time, you know. We can go there, but they cannot come to Europe or go to other continents so easily. So his idea of people not being able to travel, but goods became very, very significant during the pandemic. But the idea is bigger than that, you know. It's especially for Africans. It has been like that before the pandemic as well. So he said, yeah, actors cannot travel to realize the theater play in Eastern Congo, but the puppet can, and the puppet has a crucial role in this whole project. In the theater play, as we hear the protagonist say in the film, you know, he didn't want to tell his story on stage, and also, you know, some of the things from his story are too. You cannot depict them on stage. You cannot perform them. They're unperformable, you know. But the puppet can. The puppet can show these things. So basically his story was told by the puppet in his play, reenacting what he went through as a child soldier and a digger in a Coltan mine. Yeah, so as I said, goods could cross borders even during the pandemic, and Jan sent the puppet to the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, which was an adventure in itself. So Jan decided to send the puppet to the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo, which was an adventure by itself. But it arrived there, and Jan and the protagonist found a Congolese director, T.D. Jack Mohindo, who was there on the ground and who would accompany the protagonist, assist him and direct him while the protagonist was making his way back to where his story had actually taken place, to his home village, to the place where he was kidnapped and introduced into a militia army. And you know, with this long preparation of 8 years, and you have to understand that Jan, he has made one movie before. I think it was his second movie and his first documentary. He's a theater person, as the protagonist is, as the producers are. The film was produced by theater makers. But having dealt with the topic for such a long time, having developed it further, step by step, it was just a natural further step to make a film out of it. And I think now the challenges this project faced with not being able to bring a European crew to the Eastern Congo, this is what this film makes so specific, what it makes special now. A collaboration of a Congolese protagonist, of a German director, of a Congolese director, that communicate via telecommunication in times of pandemic. And you have a Congolese team telling the story of the protagonist, while at the same time having an infrastructure behind them that is only possible by collaborating with a German director who is also involved into the project by being on the phone constantly. So it's a very interesting collaboration which produces various layers that are all visible in the movie. Because you have different layers in the movie. You have the protagonist himself telling his story, touring through Congo with a filming of the theater production, raising awareness about his story. Then you have the story of the German director, how he got to know the protagonist, how he got involved into the project. You get his perspective on the story. You get their communication while the film is going on. This is very transparent in the movie. You have the view of the Congolese director, of TD, who is also visible in the documentary. And you have the protagonist reenacting scenes, crucial scenes of a story on the original spots, and being directed at the same time by TD, by the Congolese director, which is also transparent in the movie, And not to forget one very important layer, it's the outbreak of the Nyiragongo volcano. And this is, so many things in this process happened by chance. Nobody could foresee the COVID pandemic. And now it shaped this project in a very specific way. Same thing with the volcano. It wasn't planned. There are early drafts of the movie that do not contain the volcano at all. Well, it's great to be here. In my specific case, I got to know about the festival only 1.5 weeks ago, and so I got to know about the festival, about the screening of our film, and a minute later, I was here. And it still feels a bit unreal to be here, but I have a very good time. It's a unique location. First of all, what I love about the festival is that, we flew into Istanbul yesterday, then we had a 4-hour drive through the night to a village on the mainland, on the coast. The next morning you take the ferry boat to come here, and it's great, I think, that it's such an effort to come here, because you reflect a lot about your own work. You get into conversation with other filmmakers about your work while you're traveling and while you're reaching a very specific destination. And I feel I would love to see Istanbul, but I think in Istanbul we would be distracted by so many other things, And here there's nothing but the arts, nothing but the films, It seems like the whole city here is populated by artists, by filmmakers. We're in conversation. You enter a coffee shop, you have never seen them before, but you recognize your tribe, other filmmakers. You get into conversation, and then you rush to the next film, I have seen 3 movies, and it's early afternoon, And this creates a very specific atmosphere. The whole island is sort of run by the festival now. And I've never been to a festival in such it's a very tiny, sort of rural, very beautiful place. Nature is very strong here. You can feel the natural surrounding of the island. So I only know festival in urban circumstances, in urban surroundings. And this is completely different, and I love it. And also I mean, stop me, I could go on forever praising the festival, but let me add one more thing.
Sure.
I saw 2 movies before I saw our movie, and of course it influences the way I see our own movie. And it creates different contexts, you know? And we had a Q&A after the showing, and I had the feeling that the first question, the lady sort of pointed to the heart of the complexity and ambiguities, ambivalences that shape this project. And you see we're from different parts of the world, filmmakers from different parts of the world, but obviously we deal with the same questions. And that's a very a feeling that I can only describe as warm solidarity.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Thank you.